Vanessa stands at the doorway, soaked from the rain, holding a food tray wrapped in foil. "I just wanted to surprise you." Her voice breaks as her eyes scan the room. On the couch, Daniel sits shirtless with a girl clinging to him. Another girl sips wine in the corner, laughing. "Vanessa, what are you doing here?" Vanessa blinks through tears, her breath shallow. She forces a weak smile, then speaks, voice shaking. "Is this why you stopped picking my calls? This is why you've been too busy?" The girl beside Daniel giggles again, whispering something in his ear. He just shrugs. "Look, things change. Maybe this isn't working anymore." Silence. The only sound is the rain outside. Vanessa gently places the food on the table. Her hands tremble. She turns to leave, but then stops at the door. Slowly, she looks back over her shoulder. "I never changed, Daniel. You did." She steps out into the rain, heartbroken, disappearing into the darkness. He threw away the one person who stood by him when he had nothing. But life had a way of teaching him the hard way. Watch till the end to see what happened next. Vanessa and Daniel met during their very first year at the university. It wasn't love at first sight, but it was the kind of connection that slowly took root and grew into something real. They were both brilliant students, came from humble backgrounds, and understood what it meant to struggle. They didn't have rich parents or flashy lifestyles, but they had dreams. And they had each other. Vanessa was soft-spoken, intelligent, and graceful in everything she did. Her dark, glowing skin, always wrapped in simple but neat clothes, carried the kind of quiet dignity that turned heads. Daniel, on the other hand, was confident, focused, and always full of ideas. He believed one day he would build a better life, for himself and the woman he loved. They studied together, ate together, sometimes sharing a single plate of food during tough days, and stayed up late, dreaming about the future. Their favorite spot was the old mango tree behind the campus library. It was under that tree that they made promises to each other. "No matter how life turns out, I'll never leave you," Vanessa once whispered, her head resting on Daniel's shoulder. "And I'll make sure you never regret loving me," Daniel replied, kissing her forehead. After graduation, reality hit hard. With their degrees in hand, they stepped into the real world, but jobs weren't waiting like they had hoped. Weeks turned to months. Every day, they submitted CVs to different companies, followed leads, attended interviews, and came home empty-handed. Daniel became visibly frustrated, but Vanessa remained hopeful. "Let's not give up," she would often say. "Something good will come." One morning, while sipping her Gary quietly at the corner of their shared apartment, Vanessa's phone buzzed. It was an email. She opened it and stared at the message for a few seconds, blinking to make sure she wasn't imagining it. "I got an interview," she screamed, jumping up. Daniel rushed over. "Are you serious? Which company?" "Global Tech Solutions. I sent them my CV 3 months ago," Vanessa said, her face lighting up. Daniel hugged her tight. "This is it, baby. This is your breakthrough." The next morning, Vanessa woke up before dawn. She ironed her white blouse and black skirt, packed her credentials neatly, and prayed before heading out. Daniel called her as she boarded the bus. "You've got this, V. Just be yourself." When Vanessa arrived at the company's headquarters, she was stunned. The building was tall, made of glass and steel, and gleamed under the morning sun. She stepped in nervously and was guided to the 7th floor, where her interview was scheduled. Inside the office sat a young man, dressed in a sharp navy blue suit. His wristwatch glittered slightly as he looked up from a file. "Good morning," he said, standing to greet her. "Good morning, sir," Vanessa replied, bowing slightly. "I'm Victor," he introduced himself. "Please have a seat." Victor was the only son of the company's CEO, though he didn't like to throw that around. He had seen many people come and go, but when Vanessa walked in, something shifted. Her calm aura, her respectful tone, the way she held herself, he had never seen anyone like her. But he quickly pushed the feeling aside and got down to business. The interview was thorough. Vanessa answered each question confidently. She didn't try to impress, she just spoke with honesty and clarity. At the end, Victor was quiet for a moment, flipping through her file again. "You're very impressive, Miss Vanessa. Expect an email from us." "Thank you so much, sir," she replied and stood up. She hadn't even reached home when her phone rang. "Hello, am I speaking with Miss Vanessa?" "Yes," she answered, holding her breath. "This is Global Tech. Congratulations. You've been selected for the role. You'll be receiving your offer letter shortly." Vanessa froze on the roadside, blinking as tears welled in her eyes. She screamed with joy and quickly dialed Daniel. "I got the job," she shouted as soon as he picked. "What? Baby, I'm so proud of you," Daniel said, laughing. "Tell me everything." She told him about the salary, the company apartment, and even the official car. Daniel was overjoyed, but somewhere deep in his voice was a faint note of silence, a shadow of worry. He was still unemployed. Vanessa didn't notice. She was too happy. Her new life began like a dream. The apartment was beautiful. The office environment was respectful and professional. She worked hard, sometimes staying late, but she never stopped checking on Daniel. Every week, she sent him money, unasked. She bought him groceries, helped him apply to new jobs, and reminded him daily that better days were coming. Victor, meanwhile, couldn't help noticing her more. She wasn't just beautiful, she was competent. Her reports were perfect, her ideas sharp, and her attitude humble. He found himself watching her during meetings, smiling when she walked past. One afternoon, he decided to take a chance. He called her into his office. "Vanessa," he began carefully, "I don't want to make things uncomfortable, but I admire you. Not just your work. You, as a person." Vanessa looked up slowly, caught off guard. "I'm sorry, sir," she said gently, "but I have a boyfriend. He's been with me through everything, and my heart belongs to him." Victor nodded, forcing a smile. "I understand. I just needed to say it." As she walked out of the office, Victor sighed. He wasn't used to rejection, especially not from someone like Vanessa. But her honesty only made him respect her more. Vanessa went home that day and called Daniel, telling him what had happened. But Daniel didn't answer. She tried again. Still no reply. She left a message and went to bed, wondering if he was okay. The next morning, Daniel finally returned the call, brushing it off with a quick excuse. "I was just tired," he said. Vanessa didn't think much of it. After all, life was still hard for him. 2 weeks passed. Vanessa was settling more into her job, and everyone at Global Tech admired her hard work and humility. She kept in touch with Daniel every single day, texting him in the morning before work, calling him during lunch breaks, and checking in before bed. But slowly, Daniel's responses started changing. At first, it was delayed replies. Then missed calls. Then short, one-word answers like, "Fine." "Busy." "Later." Vanessa noticed, but she didn't want to jump to conclusions. Maybe Daniel was just tired. Maybe he was discouraged because she was doing better than him now. So she kept encouraging him, sending money, sending job leads, and even praying for him every night. One Wednesday evening, just after returning from work, Vanessa was about to take off her shoes when her phone rang. It was Daniel. "Hello," she answered quickly, happy to hear from him. "Babe, I have good news," Daniel said, his voice full of excitement. Vanessa's heart jumped. "What happened?" "I just got a job. Oil and Rock Petroleum, directing manager." Vanessa screamed with joy, almost tripping over her heels. "Oh my God! Daniel, I'm so proud of you. I told you I would make it. I told you I just needed time," Daniel said. Vanessa danced around her room. "This is our moment. We're finally getting what we prayed for." They spent the rest of the call talking about the offer, his new apartment, and the benefits. Vanessa didn't even think about her long day or the fact that she hadn't eaten. Her joy was full because Daniel was finally rising too. A few days later, he moved into his new company apartment in a highbrow area of town. Vanessa offered to visit and help him settle in, but Daniel said, "Don't worry, babe. I just want to get used to the place first. I'll call you." That was when things began to shift. Clearly, Daniel changed. He started dressing differently, talking differently, acting like he was too busy to hold proper conversations. He no longer asked how Vanessa was doing or how her work was going. She would send him long, sweet texts, and he would reply with a thumbs-up emoji. He stopped picking her calls, always claiming he was in a meeting or too busy. At first, Vanessa was patient. "He's just adjusting," she told herself. But it hurt. Meanwhile, Victor hadn't stopped noticing her. Every time he passed her desk, he'd offer a smile. Sometimes he'd bring her coffee during long hours or quietly leave a snack on her table when she forgot to eat. He never disrespected her boundaries, but his actions spoke loudly. One rainy Friday, Vanessa was working late at the office. Victor was the only one left on her floor. "You're still here?" he asked, approaching her desk. "Yes," she replied softly. "Just trying to finish this proposal." "You always work so hard," Victor said. She smiled weakly. "It keeps my mind off things." Victor looked at her, gently. "I know I said this before, and I respect your relationship. But I also see how hurt you've been lately." Vanessa looked away. "You deserve someone who won't leave your messages unread," Victor added quietly, then walked away. That night, Vanessa cried, not because Victor said something wrong, but because she knew he was right. Daniel had changed. The man who once called her his queen now treated her like a stranger. The following weekend, Vanessa made up her mind. She would surprise him. She cooked his favorite meal, wore the red dress he once loved, and took a cab to his apartment. She had not been there since he moved in, and he hadn't invited her, but she felt maybe seeing her would remind him of what they shared. When she arrived, she knocked several times. No answer. But the door was slightly open, and voices were coming from inside. Laughing voices. Female laughter. She pushed the door open gently and walked in. There, right in the living room, was Daniel, shirtless, sitting comfortably on the couch with a girl wrapped around him. Another girl was sipping wine in the corner. Vanessa froze. Daniel's eyes met hers. He didn't move. He didn't jump up. He didn't even look shocked. He looked annoyed. "Vanessa," he said, like she was disturbing him. "What are you doing here?" Vanessa's lips trembled. "I wanted to surprise you. I wanted to see you." The girl beside him giggled. Vanessa looked around, her hands shaking, her heart breaking. "Is this why you stopped replying my messages? Is this why you said you were always too busy?" Daniel stood up slowly. "Look, Vanessa, I'm tired. Things change, people change. Maybe this isn't working anymore." Vanessa's tears fell. She placed the food on the table and turned to leave, but before she walked out, she said just one thing. "I never changed. You did." She walked out into the rain, heart shattered. Daniel didn't call her back. Didn't chase after her. He returned to the couch, poured more wine, and laughed with the other girls. But what he didn't know was that his days of luxury were numbered. Back at Global Tech, Vanessa returned to work, hiding her pain behind quiet smiles. Victor noticed. He didn't ask questions. Instead, he showed care, not with words, but with actions. He gave her space, respected her boundaries, but made sure she never felt alone. Vanessa began to heal. Slowly, she started responding to Victor's kindness. Not because she wanted to fill a void, but because she realized something. Love wasn't just about how someone felt about you, it was about how they treated you. Daniel, on the other hand, was sinking. He had started using company money to fund his new lifestyle: women, parties, designer clothes. He thought no one was watching. But company accountants were. They filed reports. Investigations began. Whispers spread in the office. One evening, just as Daniel was preparing to leave the office with another girl, two men in suits walked in. "Mr. Daniel, we need you to come with us." He laughed at first, until he saw the police badge. "Come with us now. You're under investigation for misappropriation of company funds." As they led him out, cameras flashed. Everything he built in just a few weeks came crashing down. Rain had washed the city clean by the time Daniel stepped from the police van, his heart heavy and his head spinning. He was led into a small interview room at corporate headquarters. No bail, no release. Just cold walls and paperwork. Across town, Vanessa sat at her desk in Global Tech Solutions, reviewing project blueprints. Her promotion to senior project coordinator had come with new responsibilities and a renewed sense of purpose. Victor stopped by with 2 cups of coffee, setting one beside her. "How are you today?" he asked quietly. Vanessa offered a small smile. "Better. Thank you." Victor took a seat. "I heard about Daniel." Vanessa's heart clenched, but she nodded. "He made his choices." Victor reached across the desk and gave her hand a gentle squeeze. "And you made yours. I'm proud of you." They shared a look that needed no words, a promise of partnership built on honesty and respect. Meanwhile, Daniel sat alone in the corporate holding cell, thumbed through his phone searching for Vanessa's number. His finger trembled, hovering over her contact. He stared at the blank screen instead. Shame and regret mingled into an ache so deep it stole his breath. That evening, news outlets picked up the story: oil and rock managing director arrested for embezzlement. His name and face were splashed across headlines. He sank lower in his seat. In one of those stories, a sidebar article caught his eye: global tech consultant engaged to Victor, CEO's son. The photograph showed Vanessa smiling, her hand resting on Victor's arm, the sunlight glinting off her engagement ring. He closed his eyes. In that moment, his world narrowed to a single truth: he had lost her forever. The next morning, escorted by a guard, Daniel was transferred to a local detention center. He lay on the narrow cot, staring at the peeling paint overhead. Memories flooded back: her laughter under the mango tree, her whispered encouragement on long nights, the way she believed in him when no one else would. Back at Vanessa's apartment that weekend, a small gathering celebrated her engagement. Vanessa wore a simple emerald green dress that complemented her glowing skin. Victor stood beside her, handsome and gentle, as they cut the cake. Colleagues and friends cheered, toasting the couple's future. When Victor lifted the glass, he said, "To Vanessa, your courage, your integrity, and your unbreakable spirit." If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, leave a comment, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel.